Welcome, welcome back, welcome back. We've made it. It's the final key to becoming the best version of yourself. Key number 11. My gosh, we've gone through 10 of these, and now we're finally at the last one. Key number 11 to becoming the best version of yourself. So let's jump right in. What is key number 11 to becoming the best version of yourself? I'll tell you because I came up with it, so I should know. Well, key number 11 to becoming the best version of yourself is being patient and trusting the process. You've done it all. You've accepted a responsibility for your life. You've cultivated self-awareness. You've learned to forgive yourself and others. You've done it all. And now you've reached the final step. And if you've been following along and actually taking action on the steps, you're already well on your way to becoming the best version of yourself. Now is a time that you really have to dial in and remember you've got to be patient with the results of this new lifestyle that you've created for yourself, of this new mindset that you've created for yourself. You got to be patient for everything to unfold. You didn't get to where you were overnight. You ain't gonna fix it overnight. You got to remember to keep doing what you've learned to do, even though nothing is changing yet. You have to remember change takes place on the inside before you see the fruits of it on the outside. This is an internal game. You change what you are, how you act, how you do things internally before they externally show up. There's a gap between when you start working on the internal versus when it actually shows up in the external. In order to attract the life that you want externally, you have to become that person internally. And you've taken the steps 1 through 10 to get on the right path to becoming that. Now we just have to let time catch up. All of this takes time. How much time? Who knows? Depends on how much you release your need to control the outcome. Depends on how much you can live as though you're already living in the outcome. Depends on how much you can relax and know that your dream life is coming. But regardless, we both know things rarely happen in the time frame that we wish they would happen. And it's actually to our benefit, because if we had some of the things that we wanted before we were ready to receive them, it would destroy us. Now, that may not make sense to you, but imagine this. Imagine you got your dream job before you had the necessary discipline, the necessary skills, confidence, or experience to really thrive in that job. The pressure would feel overwhelming. And instead of being a dream come true, it'd be a nightmare. You'd be stressed, overwhelmed, even though you got this dream job that you've wanted, you just weren't ready for it. And so what once was a dream now is a stressful situation. But this whole process in preparation is what helps us to be capable of not only achieving our dreams, but actually maintaining them once we get them. Anyway, back to the patience thing. We've all been there. You're showing up every day. You're doing the right things day after day. You got your discipline dialed in. You're doing shit that you don't feel like doing. And you're disciplined every day. And nothing is happening. That can be massively frustrating. And then, you start to wonder, is it the right path? Am I doing the right things? Is this even what I want anymore? Or am I just wasting my time? And that's where patience comes in. But not just regular old run-the-mill patience. I'm talking about patience that trusts in the process when there's no external validation showing up. I like to call that aggressive patience. It's living as though what you want is yours and letting time do its thing. You first have to become the person that's living that dream life before the dream life shows up. Internal first and then external. Patience is tough because we live in a world of instant gratification. If what we want doesn't show up immediately, oh no, we start freaking out and then we just want to quit because we think that what we're doing serves no purpose, when in actuality, this is all part of the process, baby. So we quit, or we change course, or we lose faith in the process. But the truth is, like I said, growth ain't gonna happen overnight. And success doesn't come from us chasing anything. What you chase is running away from you. And anything that you want signifies that you don't currently have it. Success comes from becoming resilient, becoming faithful to the process, becoming mentally whole and free, and becoming disciplined in the necessary areas. Become the person who already has it and then trust that it's on its way. Trusting the process means letting go of the win. It means believing that if you followed the previous keys, taking responsibility, developing self-awareness, deciding who you want to be, building discipline, and so on, then you're on the right track even if you can't see the results yet. But it also means you have to let go of the how. So often we can't see how something is going to happen, so we don't trust or have faith that it can happen. And that's a fallacy. Stop worrying about how something is going to happen. See yourself in the end and trust that you're going to get there. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just see yourself as that version and you will get there. The path will illuminate, the path will come to you, and you will ultimately get to the outcome. But you got to let go of the how and you got to let go of the when. Because I'll tell you from experience, typically the how is not going to show up how you want it to show up or how you think it's going to show up. I had some friends who recently had an amazing win, and I can tell you they never saw the how. They had a bunch of other hows in their mind, and this one was far beyond what they could even ask, think, or imagine. So when I talk about patience, let's think about planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day just to see if the seed is growing. You plant it, you water it, you give it some sunlight, and you let time do its thing. Same thing with your dreams. You just keep showing up. You keep visualizing. You keep walking around as if, even when it feels like nothing's happening. And before you know it, that seed is going to sprout up higher and faster than you could ever have imagined. And that's your reward for being patient. That's your reward for trusting the process, because it's beautiful. When it finally sprouts, it's mind-blowing. Like, holy shit, I did not expect that. This is better than even what I thought was going to happen. Or you start seeing things in hindsight like, oh, that crappy thing happened, so this beautiful thing could happen. You got to trust the process. But remember, in the story of the seed, you still got to water it. You still got to give it sunlight, so you still have to do something. You can't just sit around and kumbaya and visualize and just expect things to just fall in your lap, because that ain't how it works. You got to trust the process. You got to take the inspired action. You can't just plant the seed and then bounce and expect it to grow. You won't do it, ain't gonna happen. You have to do the work. You still have to take the action when nothing is happening in this 3D world that we are surrounded by. So here are a few things that you can do to make sure that you're on the right frequency to attract it to you. As you already know, you're gonna have to live as though it's already yours. You're gonna have to walk, talk, and act as though you already have what you want. Just keep on doing that, and then you let time catch up. Because when you're in alignment, it's only a matter of time before your external world is a reflection of your internal world. You just got to keep taking those daily steps and trust that God or the universe is directing your path and is working behind the scenes to make it happen. The next thing you need to do is you got to stay grounded when things get tough, because things are more than likely going to get tough. And these are designed to test you to see how bad do you really want what you say that you want. How committed are you to becoming that version of yourself who has the things that you want? Your patience is not tested when things are easy. It's tested when it feels like nothing is working. And this is when you have to double down and trust that everything is working to your benefit. When you are at your wit's end, you're doing the right things, you're showing up every day, and nothing around you is changing, this is when you have to double down and continue doing the right things that you know you're supposed to be doing. This is your test. This is when you keep calling when no one is answering. This is when you keep knocking when nobody is coming to the door. This is when you keep creating even though nobody's watching. This is when you keep pushing when nobody is cheering. A lot of you are probably out there saying, oh, yeah, it's a lot easier said than done. And if you're just starting this journey, then yeah, you're right. It is easier said than done. But here's a few things that helped me when I started this journey and began cultivating this mindset. I learned to detach from the outcome. What I mean is I began focusing on the process of the things that I needed to do instead of the result that I wanted. Because I know if I do the things that I need to do and follow this process, ultimately, it's going to get me to that result. If I get all of these ingredients to make a cake and I follow the recipe to a T, eventually I'm going to get a cake. It's the same thing. Follow the process and eventually you're going to get where you want to go, but you can't give up. You can't give up when you're making that cake and it ain't done whenever you want it to be done. You got to go through the process. And that's the problem because we're a results-oriented people. If we don't see immediate results, we just give up or change course or think, oh, this isn't for me. But you've got to continue going. Following the process is going to get you to your desired end. And there are very few people who are willing to keep going when nothing is happening. If you have 100 people who start, 80 of them are going to quit as soon as it gets hard, and 15 of them, they're going to push through that initial difficulty, but give up when the results don't come quickly enough. And that's going to leave 5 people who will keep going. You want to be one of those 5 people that keep going. Keep showing up and make the process more important than the outcome, and the outcome will show up. The next thing you want to do is visualize your success. If you're unfamiliar with visualizing your success, just look into it. Pro athletes do it, musicians do it, super successful people do it. At some point, I'll make a video on visualizing and how to do it in depth. But until then, just look it up and let it become a natural part of your daily routine. You basically just take time each day to visualize in your mind what you want. The house you want, the car you want. Visualize you walking through the house. Visualize you driving the car. Feel the emotions. Smell the smells. Feel the interior of the car. Rub your hands along the banister of the house that you want, or whatever. Make it real and feel the emotions as though you are in that picture. How would you feel if you're driving around in your new car? How would you feel if you were in your brand new house? Feel those emotions as you're visualizing, and that's going to attract that to you. It's a process. Gotta have patience. It's not gonna happen tomorrow, but the more that you do that, the closer you are to having the things that you want. The next thing, and we've mentioned this previously, is practicing gratitude, because gratitude is what will put you on the frequency of abundance. By being grateful for what you have in your life, you're telling God, you're telling the universe, thank you so much. And you're going to be given more things to be grateful for. It puts you on that frequency of abundance. I've had so many moments in my life where I knew where I wanted to go, and I just did what I knew I needed to do with no reward in sight. I had to believe, I had to have faith, I had to have that aggressive patience. And each time I've gotten closer and closer to my passions, closer and closer to doing what I love each day. But there were many days where I had to show up and do what I hated as though I loved it. I had to change my mindset concerning the things that I was doing. And that does a few things. First, it makes it easier to do the things that you hate doing because you're changing your mindset. And so whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. So if you wake up every day and you say, I hate my job, well, you're going to have instances throughout the day that are going to reinforce your belief that you hate your job. But if you wake up every day and say, oh, thank you that I wake up every morning doing what I love to do, which, by the way, is exactly what I used to tell myself when I was doing shit that I hated. Thank you that I wake up every morning doing what I love to do. I freaking hated it, but I changed my mindset. And so when I began telling myself that and feeling the emotion of that, we can control our emotions, and feeling the emotion of that everything changed. I would have more fun. I'd be more optimistic when I got there. More opportunities started showing up for advancement. I just learned to trust the process. I knew where I wanted to go. I just kept that in mind. I kept visualizing it. I wrote it down. I took action. I changed my mindset. And eventually, over time, I got to do things that I enjoyed doing. And eventually, doing that over time, I'm moving into doing things that I'm actually passionate about. You just got to trust the process, especially when nothing is changing. Just do the right things that you know you need to do and trust that it's a process. Don't give up. Do not give up when it gets difficult. In the 12-step program, they say, don't quit before the miracle shows up. Just keep pushing. That's all I got. Trust the process. So here's my challenge to you. This week, take the win out of your thoughts. Don't worry about when something is going to happen. Just know that it's a process, and that you follow the process, it's going to happen. Instead of asking when, ask who. Who do I need to become to get to the goal that I want to achieve? Don't ask how. Who do I need to become? The when is going to come when it comes, and the how is going to come the way that it's going to come. You can't think about the when is it going to happen, how is it going to happen. Worry about who you need to become and become that person. The when and the how are going to figure itself out and show up guaranteed if you follow the process, if you don't give up, if you maintain the positive mindset. When you live, breathe, and act as though what you want is already yours, you align yourself with that energy of success. Trust that you're on the right track, even when it's hard to see. Let this become the mindset that you adopt. Let this become the mindset, your new mindset. And guaranteed, it's going to come. You're going to get what you want. You're going to get where you want to go. So that's it. That's all I've got. We've reached the ends of the 11 keys of becoming the best version of yourself. Take all the information, take action on it. Don't let this just be something else that you watch or listen to and just sit in the corner and don't do shit, and then your life still sucks in 6 months or a year from now and you're still doing the same things that you weren't happy with before. You watched all this, you spent all this time watching these videos for a reason. If you did, you may just watch one or two. I don't know. Hope you got some value out of it regardless. But if you watch all of them, if you implement them, you're going to become a different person. You're going to become a new person. You're going to become closer to the best version of yourself. And that's what we all are here for. Becoming the best versions of ourselves. We don't want to just go through this life mediocre, just barely getting by. We want to thrive. We want to be successful. We want to benefit society, benefit our friends and family, show them that you can really reach your full potential and become everything that you dream of becoming. If you got any questions or comments or anything, leave them down below, or you can reach out to me and I'll help you and guide you through them if you got any questions or comments. If you need a deeper explanation on anything, let me know. The next series of videos, we'll be exploring the 12 laws of the universe. We're going to talk about what they are, how they affect us, and how we can utilize them in our journey towards becoming the best versions of ourselves. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day. And as my wife says, make good choices. See you next time. Bye.